It's a great question. So for me, when I play music, it's the same as being alive, really. It speaks the same language as saying words to people, and I think when I play, I try and create a sense of feeling that makes you feel things. I think that's what music is all about, really. And I suppose I've done music for such a long time in my life that it's a sort of natural way of me showing how I feel. I suppose that's what music means to me. It's beautiful. I think it feels fantastic. It feels like a piano, which I guess is the idea. But you know, some pianos can be quite aggressive and quite hard to touch. This is very easy to touch, which is just delicious. You know, the moment you touch it, it feels like kind of liquid or water. It's lovely, and there are some beautiful sounds in there. The piano sounds extremely realistic. I was just digging the electric piano sounds as well. I mean, everything about it is lovely. It's quite small and compact, and I mean, it looks fantastic. It looks like a piano from here. You know, the only difference is there's no arching back, but it's really a lovely piece of work. Well, you know, obviously when you play a piano, it feels natural and it sounds natural. And the advantage this instrument has is obviously there are more sounds than just the piano, but the piano sounds are fantastic, and actually it's very rare for an electric piano to sound like a real piano, and I haven't heard anything really. I mean, I haven't heard many things that have come close to this in terms of how close it sounds, and when you play it, how natural it feels. You know, so I love it, and it's great. But it's very cool that you can play the keys, and the keys feel like a piano, but it also it can sound like a harpsichord, or it can sound like a string section. You know, that's exciting to me. I mean, you mentioned dynamics, and I think dynamics is very important. I find when I'm playing a light-weighted keyboard, or some of the heavy-weighted keyboards I found, it hasn't been dynamically responsive in the same way that this is, but this seems to have all of the breadth of a piano. You can go really, really quiet, or really, really loud. And if you whack a note, it sounds like you're whacking a note, and if you creep into a note, it's great. And actually, I was noticing with the soft pedal as well, on the piano, if you place the left pedal down, it creates a softer sound because the hammers move. And that's something difficult to get right. And I've played many hybrid pianos kind of like this, where that hasn't been nailed properly. But this is great because when you put the soft pedal down, it feels soft, but it also feels warm. And that's kind of, I think that's a cool thing to have achieved. It's pretty similar, really. I mean, it's amazing how much depth there is in all of the range with regard to dynamics. I mean, nothing feels exactly the same as a piano, but you know, just having a look inside this and seeing the hammers which are there, I mean, that really, it's so receptive, and so when you release a note, it feels the same. When you press a note, it feels very similar. You know, so I think it's superb. Yeah. So I was talking before about dynamic range. Something about having actual hammers in the instrument means that when you release a note, this is, I mean, in my experience, this is something that's less effectively done with instruments that look like this. Is that the feeling when you release a note, it feels a bit plastic, you know, whereas you can feel that the weight of the hammer returning to its natural position, which makes it so fantastic, you know. And obviously the same is said, obviously, when you press a note down. So I mean, from start to finish, the whole mechanism of playing a note, releasing a note, and then obviously, you know, all of the different dynamics you can get out of a note is all there, and using the soft pedal. It sounds very soft, it sounds very kind, whereas a lot of soft pedals sound like sort of liquid soil or something, I don't know. But I mean, it's a fantastic setup with the hammers inside, and obviously, you know, you have many different sounds, and actually the sounds respond to the dynamics kind of equally well. And this is something else I find sometimes with the sounds that aren't the piano sounds. They haven't concentrated so much on making, you know, that release and that attack as realistic as it feels to play a real piano. So that's something I would highly advocate about this instrument, is that across the board of sounds feels real and it sounds real. Yeah, I mean, I guess that I was expecting it to be good, but this is really a even more full package than I was expecting, and yeah, I wasn't actually aware of the number of different sounds you can get with the instrument, and that just means there's more soul available to be expressed. You know, as I was saying before, it's you know, to be able to play something that feels like a piano, but you can play a harpsichord, or you can play, you know, like a sort of electric piano, which is kind of groovy, or like a string section. I mean, and an organ that it's broad enough to encompass a lot of that modern technology with regard to sampling sounds, but yet it feels so realistic, and that's a thumbs up from me.